We all knew this fight was happening, right? But Marcel finally announced it 10 minutes ago, and now I'm here to talk about it. This fight, champion Aljamain Sterling will fight Henry Cejudo at UFC 288 on May 6th. This fight was meant to happen. A lot of people speculate it was meant to happen in March. That's when the whole talk was, March 4th for UFC 285. Thing with that was back in January, Aljamain Sterling tore his bicep. I don't know which bicep, the left or the right one. He tore one of his biceps. The fight had to be postponed a bit. It's still happening. Aljamain Sterling's fighting Henry Cejudo for the championship, for all the marbles. There's a lot of stakes in this fight. There's so much on the line, especially for Henry Cejudo. I feel like, and he's not even the champion. And there's still so much on the line for both guys. If Sterling loses this fight, right? If Aljamain Sterling loses this fight, then all the fans are gonna pass him off as like they were right about him, that he's not good. I think it would depend on how he loses, but they would start talking about Jan won the fight, the second fight, and the TJ Dillashaw fight was a fluke because he was injured or whatever, and a lot of people are gonna tarnish Aljamain Sterling's championship legacy or even legacy in total. That's what I think is going to happen if Sterling loses. So there's a lot on the line for him. There's a lot of pressure on him as well. But if Cejudo loses, Henry Cejudo, he's not all. Thing with Cejudo, he's the first guy to not only be a double champion in the UFC, but to also hold an Olympic gold medal in a sport like wrestling. That's an Olympian fighting other Olympians, fighting some of the best wrestlers in the world. And you won the gold medal. That's first place. That is first place. That's how good Henry Cejudo is. That's how he became double champ. That's how he defeated legends. That's how he defeated so many legends in the cage. He beat Dominic Cruz. He beat TJ Dillashaw, just to name a few. He beat a lot of the top guys in bantamweight, and he even won. And also flyweight. Also Demetrius Johnson. How did I forget Demetrius Johnson? Henry Cejudo is beating some of the best guys in the lighter weight classes in history. Some of the top 10, top 15 guys on everybody's list. Everybody's list has Henry Cejudo as being some of those guys. And the top ones as well. Some people consider Demetrius Johnson to be the GOAT. Now, I think he's pretty close. I think he's right there. I think he's almost there. So for Cejudo to have beaten him, to have also being Cruz, who people think he's a lot of people say he's the bantamweight GOAT, which I don't disagree with. He's being the flyweight GOAT and the bantamweight GOAT in his prime. Cejudo is a very credentialed man, and if he loses this fight, all of that probably goes to I wouldn't say to waste, but a lot of it would be tarnished. And I say that he beat a lot of these legends, a lot of these dominant champions, but he beat them I did say he beat them in his prime. Cejudo, I don't think he's in his prime anymore. How old is Henry Cejudo? Let me search that up first. How old is Henry Cejudo? 36 years old. Okay, he's not that old. I'll give him that. He's not that old, but he's definitely not in his prime anymore. My brain froze, my bad. He's definitely not in his prime anymore. And now he's fighting another champion like Aljamain Sterling. Now, I don't think Aljamain Sterling is as good as, let's say, Demetrius Johnson. I don't think that's a controversial thing to say either. I don't know if he's good. I don't know if he's better than Cruz in his I don't know if he's as good as Cruz in his prime either. But here's the thing. Cejudo beat all these guys when he was at his best. Cejudo, he's definitely not going to be at his best in this fight. He's not going to be the best version of himself. I don't think that's controversial to say either. Cejudo's had a long layoff. He hasn't fought since what year? In a long time. I don't know when was the last year. I think it was 2019 or 2018. Or was it 2020? No, it was 2019, I'm pretty sure. And he's coming back only now. And he didn't do a lot of... No. It's not that he didn't do a lot of training. It's that he also gained a lot of weight. He started falling back into, not the best habits. But in that time, not the best habits in, diet is what I mean. Henry Cejudo, he still got good fundamentals. That's how he's one of the best. Henry Cejudo, he's still been training. He still owns it. He still owns a gym. He's still been training. A lot of these high level guys, he's been training with guys like John Jones, Zhang Weili, Davison Figueiredo. He's been training with the best right now. He's beating some of the best of a couple years back, but now he's training with the best of today, of right now, of even a couple months back when he was still training with them. So Henry Cejudo, he's still been in that area, and also he's still been in that environment, but also he's been wanting this comeback fight for even longer. Henry Cejudo, a lot of people said he retired young, and I do agree. He did retire in his prime. He could have gone a lot more. He got to be in a lot more guys at bantamweight and at flyweight, I do believe. But him retiring young, a lot of people think that it was for like leverage or for more money for whenever he comes back. Maybe that's true. Maybe that's not. I feel like Henry Cejudo, the only reason he would come back is for a bag. So maybe he is getting that bag that a lot of people are talking about. Cejudo, Cejudo in this fight, right? It's just such a long layoff. That's the thing with this one, is it's a really long layoff, but in that layoff, he's been talking about coming back for how long? He's had that mentality where I want to come back. I want to beat Aljamain Sterling or Sean O'Malley or whoever it is, right? He's been thinking in his mind, I can beat all these guys. I want to beat all these guys. I want the championship belt. For how long? He's been surrounded by the best fighters in the world for how long? He's been training since his retirement for how long? How hard? We really don't know. Only thing we do know is Henry Cejudo, it's not going to be an easy fight for Aljamain Sterling. And on the Aljamain Sterling side, the bicep tear, maybe he'll be fully healed up by the time this fight comes around. Hopefully. I'm not trying to see this fight get canceled. I'm definitely not trying to see this fight get canceled. This is a good fight. The press conference is going to be great. The press conference is going to be great. The build-up's going to be good. The embeddeds, the countdown is going to be nice. And, I can't wait. It's a really good fight. There's so much pressure on both of these guys. And they're so evenly matched. These guys, you don't look at this fight and think, oh, they're going to stand up and strike. They're probably going to wrestle. With each other. It's just some of the two best bantamweight wrestlers, some would argue, of all time. But we're just going to find out. We're just going to see, Does the layoff matter? We saw with John Jones that the layoff doesn't necessarily mean that much. And John Jones, he's not really surrounded by some of the best fighters either, kind of like Walt Harris, etc. I forgot the Jorgen De Castro, I think, was another one. It's not the best heavyweights, but he still came back strong. Very, very strong. Beat the number one guy. And now Cejudo coming to fight more than the number one guy. Now coming to fight the champion of the division, who's already beaten the number one guy at that time, or the number two guy at that time when he fought them. It's a tough fight for both guys. For both guys, it's a very tough fight. I think the build-up, the press, the talking, it's gonna tell us a lot about where both of these guys are at mentally for this fight, and I think it's gonna say a lot to where the fight's gonna go. Early prediction, I think it's gonna be a lot of mental. I'm not saying trash talk. The trash talk is gonna be just for fun. It's gonna be for show. It's not gonna be nothing too serious. I'm talking about the mentality of Cejudo and Sterling, how they're gonna approach the fight itself. If they're gonna crack under that pressure, if they feel any adversity, both fighters, I think, are gonna feel a lot of adversity in this fight. They're gonna have their moments where they're winning, but they might also have their moments where they're losing. I think that's where this fight's gonna go. I think it could also go completely one-sided, one direction, if the other fighter is just not mentally prepared enough. I think it's gonna be a lot of mental strategy. It's also gonna be a lot of wrestling. It's gonna be a whole lot of wrestling, and we're just gonna see how Cejudo, in his hiatus, in his time off, how he approaches this fight. I think a lot of it's on Cejudo, honestly, just because of the layoff. The layoff and how you come back from it tells a lot. the layoff doesn't always mean that you're gonna come back, you know, bad. We've seen with, you know, guys like Georges St. Pierre or even more recently John Jones, the layoff doesn't usually mean a lot. For Cejudo, he's one of the best. He's up there, you know, top he's up there in some of like people's GOAT lists, like top 20, top 15. I don't really think he's top 10. But he's definitely up there top 15. And we've seen guys like Georges St. Pierre and John Jones approach these comeback fights after such, you know, like a time off. Approach these fights well and, you know, a good performance and everything. Henry Cejudo could do the same. He could do the same, but you never know. And Aljamain Sterling, he's still pretty good. He's got nice wrestling, striking's getting better, and I don't know, man. It's just an interesting fight. Of course, it's just early prediction. I don't have a clear winner yet. I do want to lean towards Aljamain Sterling though, but I also want to go towards the Cejudo side. I don't know. Y'all are gonna have to see my predictions video in like 2 months when I actually think about this fight more. But yeah, super fun fight. Very excited for this one. Glad that it's a main event because I don't know what other fight could have been a main event to this one. It's a good main event. If so, oh yeah, it says main event, bro. I'm dumb. It says main event right there. Look at that, main event. Let's go. But yeah. Anyways, I'll see you all. I don't know, whenever I get back to making content, which could be a day, could be a week. I don't know. Who knows?